We in the United States are the envy of the rest of the world when it comes to higher education. We marvel every single day at the incredible technological advances that are made in our country. And we are even talking and hearing news about putting a community of people in Mars. But before we reignite our passion for space travel, perhaps we should take stock of what's going on right here on Earth. There's 3 things to point out. Number 1, 75% of Americans are either overweight or obese. Number 2, we share a distinction with Mexico as being number 1 and number 2 most unhealthiest countries in the world. Number 3, 20% of Americans will die of an obesity-related disorder. There's something particularly odd about that because the situation is getting worse. As we think about particularly the role of society, the role of government, we in the United States are fighting a few wars. We're fighting a war on terror, we're fighting a war on drugs. And I'm not suggesting that those aren't wars worth fighting. But Dr. Galati and I have declared the war on obesity, and we need your help.
In all the years that I've been practicing medicine, believe it or not, it is very easy to die. Now, what do I mean by that? If you have no sense, no clue, you're not paying attention to what is going on, you will get sick and you'll die. I have seen countless patients die prematurely. Common thread. They had no clue as to what was going on with their health. And it doesn't matter if they're 30 years old, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. It doesn't matter. Race doesn't matter. The common thread here is that there's an unawareness. An unawareness that their gradual obesity over the last decade, not realizing it's a problem, not realizing that touch of diabetes has led to a stroke or a heart attack or kidney failure. And so it's easy to die. Now, we are all surrounded by landmines. Now, what kind of landmine am I talking about? Drug abuse, inactivity, diabetes, mental health, tobacco, alcoholism. So we make decisions every day when we wake up. As far as, am I going to walk into the path of the landmine or walk away from it? Let me explain. You wake up in the morning, you have a decision right away. What am I going to have for breakfast? Going to put a Pop-Tart in, all of 45 seconds to eat and eat it on the way out? Or do I take an extra 2 minutes to make a scrambled egg white, have some fruit? Same thing will happen again. What kind of snack at 10 o'clock in the morning? Do I go downstairs and get a Snicker bar? That's easy. Probably about $1.05. Or small packet of nuts. What do I have for lunch? What do I have in the afternoon? Do I exercise when I get home? Do I take a flight of stairs to work to get at my desk? Take the elevator? Or do I just sit when I get home, order something out, eat too much, and sit there with your remote and just watch Wheel of Fortune all night? But there are landmines out there you need to stay clear of. And so what I want all of you to hear in your head is that wake-up call. Now, from experience, the wake-up call comes, for many, way too late. The train has pulled in and pulled out of the station before they have a chance of making any sort of change. So the wake-up call, and I tell patients this, that you have gotten here just in time. But there are other people that get the wake-up call too late. Again, not realizing that lump on their neck really could be cancer. Or that pain on their side. How long have you had that pain? Well, I don't know, 3-4 months. Did you think that there was something wrong? I didn't know. So it's a combination of not wanting to be aware, not wanting to investigate. But again, we talk about this wake-up call is absolutely crucial to intervening early. No matter what disease it is, you name a disease and I'll tell you, the earlier we find out, the better you'll be. Very few things you find out early and it's deadly.
Teenage obesity has made it in the news a lot. On October 19th, 1973, the scene was the following. It was a 13-year-old boy and a 43-year-old father. The father sits the boy down and he says to his son, who is 5 feet 5, 207 pounds, and has a waist of 41 inches. And he says to his son, he said, "Son, you've been eating everything in sight. You are out of control. And if you don't get your overweight and your eating problems in order, you will get sick, you will get more fat, you will be diseased." And the son says to his father, "How can you say that, Dad? That's so mean. Oh my God, I can't believe it. You don't love me anymore. This is what you're saying?" The scene, it was me. I was 5 feet 5, I was 207 pounds, and my waist was 7 inches bigger than it was now. My father was the person in that scene talking to me because he helped me to confront something that I wasn't willing to confront myself. And when I look back and I reflect, the first thing I did the next morning when I woke up, I thanked my father. And I thanked him, "Dad, I can't believe that you're the only one who actually came and talked to me about it. Thank you for having the courage to do that because it really hurt. But I know you did it because you love me." And in retrospect, when I look back at what happened, in the modern world, we call that an intervention. When I reflect on it, I call that a miracle. It was something that I needed because nobody else was going to do it for me. The problem that we have with teenage obesity, there's not enough honesty, there's not enough candor, and there are very few people willing to tell you what it is you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And what we need from each other with respect to inspiration for how we're going to make it a healthier world, we need more candor. We need people to help and tell your friends what they don't want to hear. Otherwise, they're not your friends. So be their friend. Confront them. Do it kindly, do it firmly, do it gently, and do it with love. But tell them what nobody else is willing to tell.
Does everybody have antiviral protection on their computer? Okay, so the scene is typically you're at home, you're at work, and you get an email, and you say, "Gee, I don't know who that's from. I don't know. Jackson Alcohol Company Incorporated or whatever. Don't open it. It might have a virus. It might have a Trojan, a worm." And you're going to click. "No, don't do it. Do you have virus protection?" Now, if you did it and a virus gets on your computer, you'd be called a fool. Don't you read the paper? There's viruses and how much it costs, right? We take better care of our computers than ourselves. Who here has been vaccinated for hepatitis A or even knows what hepatitis A is or hepatitis B? Who knows about hepatitis C? Right? HIV.
Future physician's assistant.
Future, all right.
Future doctor. We got someone going to med school. He's got the advantage.
We are more concerned about viruses on our silly computers than we are here. I see patients now, because of viral hepatitis, it is the number one thing that I see as a liver specialist. And I see people get cirrhosis and liver cancer, and we have to transplant them. We're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on new drug development to take care of these viruses, but the John Q. public out there knows nothing about protecting themselves about viruses, but yet they worry about their computer. And so I know on my own computer at work and at home, every 12 months I have to get Norton 5.0, 6.0. And I can't do anything. I'm like, I'm without protection. I'm without protection. I got to spend another $99 to get the subscription up. Now, we talk to patients, and I'll say, I like to use the name Bob. Bob, you need vaccination for hepatitis A and B. It is unfortunately not covered by insurance. So I say, look, go down to Walgreens, buy it. We'll come. We'll give it to you for free. But you have to pay the $129. I don't know if I could spend that money. But yet, on your computer, you're more than willing to do it. Now, the cost of all this. The cost of being ill. The cost of being overweight. The cost of being out of shape. The cost of diabetes. The cost of heart disease. High blood pressure. It's very expensive. Doctor bills, pharmacy bills, hospital bills, operations, biopsies. It's tremendous. We'd like to think we can save the world and prevent everything from happening, but so much of what happens can be prevented. From a career standpoint, this is where Chuck and I share a lot in common. You're ill. You're sick. You're sickly. Are you going to be the person that if there's an opportunity for a promotion, they're going to give it to the sickliest looking person? No, they're going to give it to somebody that's vibrant and healthy, looks like they're in shape. Again, we have to look beyond just the looks of things, of course. But so many patients come to me, and it absolutely saddens me when they hand me, they're like, Dr. Galati, look, before I leave today, can you fill out my disability forms? Okay, I can't work anymore. Most disability plans cut your salary by 3/4. You go from making a halfway okay salary, depending on what you do, of course, to living about 1 millimeter above the poverty line. Not good. Again, I would argue much of this misery could have been prevented.
The purpose of education is not just to fill you with knowledge. In fact, in my class, while I certainly love that, the purpose of my being here and how I align passion and purpose is to teach you to act. I don't mean acting in the dramatic sense, which you may do. I mean taking action. When there's something to do, you do it. You don't think about it. You may kick it around, but the world values those that act much more than do anything else. When it comes to action, take action on your health, take action on your finances, and never apologize for your good health, and never apologize for your good fortune. $190 billion a year are spent on fast food. When it comes to the choices that you're going to make as to what you're going to eat, each of you has two choices. You can choose man food, or you can choose God food. God food is what our cavemen ate. It's food from the earth. It grew from the ground. If it was a piece of meat, it had a mother. As cruel as it sounds, that's what we do. If it didn't, it was a vegetable. It grew in a piece of dirt. It had some water. It grew, and we pulled it out of the ground. That's God food. That's God, the food, the way God intended us to consume it. And there was man food. When the agricultural revolution started, we got carried away. We took the God food, we stripped it of its nutrients, we sent it to some production facility, they put it in a bag, they sealed the bag, they put it on a box, they stamped something on it, like with FDA approval. They tell you it's fortified with riboflavin and B12, and they put it up on the shelf. When you walk into the supermarket, you walk into the periphery of the supermarket, you have fruits, vegetables, and protein, and 45 aisles in between. That is in a box and or bag. That is man food, that is off limits. We have the model backwards, we need to flip it. The call to action here is when you walk into the supermarket, please stay on the periphery. Everything else in between is offsides.
Little quiz here. What vegetable is that? It's a zucchini. It's not a cucumber.
It's a banana.
So now, I spend a lot of my time communicating, educating my patients. Years ago, I realized that many of these patients, regardless of their socioeconomic, don't know how to cook, they don't know how to shop. So what I did was, me and my color printer, I printed out about 10 lovely 8x10 glossy pictures of different fruits and vegetables. And I would go in and I would show somebody, I said, hey, what is this? And they're like, I've seen it. All right, let me give you a chance. Is it a zucchini, a squash, or butternut squash? I don't know. And so what I've started to do is in my office, twice a week, I go to the supermarket and I buy as much fruit as I basically can carry out of the store. We put it in a paper bag, staple a recipe, and we hand it out to our patients. All right? Instead of leaving with samples or a prescription, they're leaving with produce. I call it the Great American Produce Giveaway. It's on Instagram, and they go home, they cook it, they take a picture, send it to me, we post it. We're trying to create a little bit of a buzz around this. I don't think any other doctor is doing this around the country. But, as Chuck said, you show them a yellow squash, they think it's a banana. You show them a radish, you show them a beet, they think it's radishes. So the message here is, how could you expect somebody to eat better? Right, it's easy for me to say, hey, just eat better. And then you go home and say, well, I don't know how to eat better. So we try to provide the education and inspiration to do this.
What I talk about here is financial fitness. Each of you have your own personal accountability, and as a matter of self-respect, go out and make a great living. Nobody's going to do it for you. You're going to have your friends help you. But the reality is, being financially fit and being physically fit require the same three dimensions. Number one, you need to be determined. You need to be determined to make a good living and be grateful for it and never apologize. And you need to be determined to have good health. Number two, after that determination, you have to be able to provide willpower. No, I cannot eat that. No, I will not do that. You have to do what's good for you and your friends. That's your limit. Other than that, off limits. And third, you need a plan. You need advice. You have financial advisors. You may be one. You have dietitians. Don't be afraid to ask for that advice. The core of how you become physically fit is the behavioral aspect of how you become financially fit. They are one and the same. Good money management requires lifestyle skills. Don't think of them as being anything other than the same. Lastly, let's bring it home.
Nobody anywhere says that good health is any sort of constitutional right. You don't wake up and have the right to just be healthy. Do whatever you want and be healthy. What we're trying to say here, number one, is you have to become a lifelong student of the most amazing machine on earth, you. Learn about it and increase awareness of your body. That is really the crux of all this.
I talk to everyone in this class about the concept of giving and taking. It is your responsibility and our responsibilities to each other to be able to give of ourselves to each other. We have to be able to provide good advice. But most important, nobody in this room needs to be told what to do when it comes to financial fitness or when it comes to physical fitness. However, some people need inspiration in order to do it. So the call to action for all of us as a community, to build healthy communities, we have a responsibility to each other. Dr. Galati and I have declared the war on obesity. We are never going to believe that it can't be won, but we need your help. We want every one of you, every single minute of every single day, to inspire your mates, and when you're in that cafeteria and you're going to eat that Snickers bar, buy them a banana instead. I'm Chuck Garcia.
Joe Galati.
We are fighting the war on obesity. We want your help, and thank you very much for your time.